Hey y'all, it's Laura, and I have a 3-photo layout for today's Multi-Photo Monday. And this is a video hop. There are several other ladies who are going to be doing this every Monday in September, or Scraptember as we are calling it. And I'm going to use these 3 photos of a little picnic that we went to with my husband's coworkers, and went to a nice park, and the twins were in their stroller. I just loved walking around the little pond. And of course my son Joseph was all about the trees. Outside is kind of his thing. When you get him out there, he has a blast, always. And so I'm going to use some washi tape. On the right side, did put down a little bit of tape for that blue washi tape because it doesn't stick very well anymore, but it's so pretty. It's navy blue with some polka dots, and I love it. So now that that's down, have a strip of striped black and white paper from Felicity Jane. And then these 4x6 cards from Cheeky Studio, and they're beautiful. They're part of the Midnight Florals collection, which is the majority of what I'm going to be using on this layout. I just thought it was really nice to use some florals on a picnic layout. So I'm just going to stack these photos up in a line along the edge of where the 2 pages meet. Now this white background paper is actually the back of a piece of pattern paper that's very old and was one-sided that I didn't really like anymore. It wasn't my style. So I flipped it over and I'm using it for the white side, but it's getting used. So I encourage you to do that. If you're looking through your stash and you're like, oh, I don't know about this paper anymore, and it's one-sided, flip it over and use the white side. Absolutely. Even if all you do is use it to mat your photos, go for it. At least it's getting used. Better than taking up precious space in your stash or getting chucked without getting used at all. So I did end up adding some foam behind just the center photo to kind of pop it up and make it the focal image. And I'm just going to place these beautiful cheeky florals all around the photos. I'm just going to cluster them in small sections on either side of the photos and where the 2 photos meet. I think one of the best ways to get many photos onto a page is to cluster them together, and it allows you to use them as one element on the page and to embellish this one larger element on the page. And that's sometimes easier, and you don't have to layer them on top of each other. Mine are lined up perfectly together, and they just are one major element on the page, and I'm just embellishing around them. And I really like how these cheeky florals can be. There's some of them are clusters, and you can just pop it in there and you get the whole cluster. It's done. But there's also bits and pieces that you can create your own clusters, and I really like that. It's one of my favorite things about Cheeky's Florals. This isn't a Cheeky Studios video, by the way. I just decided to go ahead and use this on this layout because I thought the colors went really well. It's got some of that navy that is in my girl's stroller. It's got some of that pink, which is in their outfits, and then it's got some of those earthy tones that at a picnic would be perfect. So I did put my code at the end if you'd like to go check out Cheeky Studio. But back to Multi-Photo Monday. This is going to be a lot of fun. I am going to attempt to get at least 3 photos on every layout on Mondays in September. That is my goal. But I'm hoping to have at least one layout that has 5 or more on a 1-page layout because I take a ton of photos, guys. I take a lot of photos. I have 5 kids. We have a lot of activities, a lot of family close by, a lot of events to scrapbook, and I take a lot of photos. And so I always want to get as many photos per event on the page as I can. Now sometimes I want to do a more mixed media or just really focus on one moment, and I'll use one photo. But it's usually accompanied by a pocket page or another layout that has more photos. And I think that's kind of cool, kind of like a highlight page and then the rest of the story page. And I did use a combination of double-sided tape to adhere these down and my tonic glue pen, which I really like that tonic glue pen. I even like it better than the fine line bottle and have honestly given up on Scotch tacky glue because after a while it just dries out, and this tonic glue pen doesn't. So I do keep it point down though. That is a little tip. My tonic glue pen point down and I tuck it in with my pencils, and that does help keep the glue at the right end of the bottle, and it seems to keep it from drying out as well. So I'm just going to add some sequins all around the place. These are from the Wildflower collection, and I really like these. I think they're a little bit lighter than the flowers. They're not the exact same colors, a little bit lighter, and I think it kind of speaks to the more pink tones as opposed to the red. So now I've moved on a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and get my title down, and I decided I wanted to do just like my photos, have a nice vertical line. So will my title. So I'm using a combination of this little wood veneer Life from Elle Studio, these thickers from the Paige Evans Pick Me Up collection, and the stamp from Citrus Twist Kits. And then I will bring in some more thickers, which are from, oh, they're not thickers, they were puffy stickers from Pink Fresh Studio. So I'll have a combination of those 4 things to create my title. Life needs more picnics. I think that's true. I think life does need more picnics. If we spent more time enjoying each other's company, especially coworkers, and getting to know your coworkers on a personal level, I think that that's really helpful in making work more of a enjoyable experience. And these are my husband's coworkers. He is an engineer, so it was a whole lot of engineers. And they're definitely generally introverts and generally people who kind of keep to themselves. And so I think it was kind of nice to get to know each other a little bit and spend some time with them. So here are those Pink Fresh Alphas. I did consider a set of thickers, but they were too big. And I really wanted to keep the scale of this title small because it was so long. And also because the rest of the letters are fairly small. It didn't make sense to have a much, much larger title there, and I wasn't even sure it would fit. So I went ahead and went with these smaller gold Pink Fresh Studio Alphas, and they're kind of puffy and gorgeous. Gold foil. Love the gold foil on all the things. Okay, now that that is all in place, I'm just going to glue down that wood veneer Life with my glossy accents in the fine liner bottle. Glossy accents seems to do better in the fine liner bottle than in the bottle that it comes in. I'm not sure why, but it dries out fairly quickly and clogs super easily in its own bottle, so I put it in the fine liner bottle to make it more accessible. And then I'm going to add a little cluster to the left of the title just to kind of tie it in with the layout, so it doesn't just look like it's sitting out to the left, just chilling, no connection to the rest of this layout. So I thought a cute little cluster here would help tie that together. So this little cluster, one of the things that I like to do if I don't really want to have to glue down each and individual piece again when I've already put them together, is I'll just take my tiny attacher, staple them together, and then cover them with that top flower on a glue dot. And that seems to keep everybody together, and I don't have to keep rearranging those flowers. So I'm going to use another glue dot to get those down into place just because they were handy and right next to me. Doesn't really matter if you're using double-sided tape, glue, glue dots, they all work. And just going to pop that up right next to my title. Okay, so now that I have that in place, I think I want to add a little bit more sequins because I had added a few, but I just added another cluster, so I should add a few more around that cluster. That's that tiny detail that really, in my mind, makes it finished. So I'm just going to add those around the page, and of course I'll glue those back down with my tonic glue pen. I wanted to let you know there will be a video every single day this month for Scraptember, and I invite you to come back to my channel and watch some of those videos as well. A lot of them will be process videos, but some of them will also be Kits and layout shares. Some of them will be crafty hauls. Some of them will be unboxings of kits and things like that. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of fun stuff this month, and I'm pretty excited about it. Definitely will have the grab bag challenge happening sometime in the next week or so with my Scrapbooking Cards Today sampler. And now that I've got my journaling on here with my magic journaling genie, I think I need it. It's one of those tools I use constantly. So I'm going to play around with a little bit more of these flowers. They're beautiful. They're so pretty and I couldn't stop touching them if you hadn't noticed that on this video. They're just so pretty. So I ended up putting one more cluster down in the bottom right just to kind of guide your eye through the layout in a bit of a triangle fashion from the top right to the left in the center and to the bottom right. I like to create that movement in my layouts. It's something you will see as a common theme in my layouts, that I do try to guide the eye through them and not just at one particular thing. So moving ahead just a little bit here, I have pulled a few things out of my stash just to add to the layout and finish it off. One of those things is some navy puffy hearts. I just had a couple of them left, so went ahead and used those up. Have a couple of these little labels that I'm just going to tuck behind the page because they're navy and bringing in more of that color. I don't use that color as much as I'd like to. Navy isn't a color you see terribly often in scrapbooking supplies, but it is one that I really like. And so definitely wanted to incorporate as many of those as possible. And they're not even functioning as labels. They're just pops of that navy color. So I've also added a little ephemera piece at the bottom that says tiptoe through the flowers. And then this is a Simple Stories I Am clear sticker sheet. Added an I Am So Happy at the top. And then I have a Tim Holtz sticker book, and this one says something about a party without cake is just a meeting, which I thought was appropriate for a work picnic. So I went ahead and add a couple more of these little gold, tiny gold hearts, and I just have a very small gold heart punch, and I also have a confetti die that I put through my Sidekick, and it creates tiny gold hearts on glitter paper. So that is an idea if you're looking for some tiny embellishments. And I'm just going to add those all around the page as my scattering. I do remind myself at the end of my layouts to do scattering and splattering because that finishes it off for me. Those are the tiny details that really make it finished and make me happy to see them spread all around the page. So this layout is just about done, and I hope you go and check out all of the other ladies' layouts as they've created today. And all of them are multi-photo, and I believe most people were trying to do 3 or more photos. And that should be really cool to see how everybody else interprets that multi-photo theme. This layout is now done. Stay tuned for the still photos at the end, as well as my discount code if you want to go check out Cheeky Studio. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Until next time, bye.